Okay. Welcome to day two of the inaugural Dripping in Black Recreator. You said recreators. Creators Retreat. First one in the Detroit, Michigan. We are blessed today with our brother, Al Pete from Duval. Y'all say Duval? Duval
Oh
County
man, oh
in
man,
the
oh
great state
man.
of Florida. So, without further ado, we're going to let Al do his thing. And the crowd will ask questions and all that good stuff. I will make sure there ain't nobody in the thing. And there we go.
What's up, folks? What's happening? What's happening? First off, the way that y'all did that Duval was like splendid, man. That was very, very dope. The calling of the callings. Um, and second off, it's always Duval County versus Jacksonville, Florida. When we do the introductions, we always say we from Duval County, aka Jacksonville, Florida. So first off, I appreciate y'all giving me that warm or cold welcome because I think y'all down there might be in some cold weather up there, and down here I don't know what we got going on. But well, nevertheless, it's me, Mr. Al Pete, um, the NPN Network founder. Um, a lot of things. I get into that in a minute. But thank you to Square um, for having me speak at the Dripping in Black Creators Retreat. The first action of it. Looking forward to many, many more of these, and I definitely will be there at the next one. So hopefully y'all enjoy yourselves and all the great things. Hopefully y'all feel my spirits and all that great stuff around. Let's see. So I'm gonna be talking about community at its best. Um, it's interesting because I'm stepping more into the community conversations or realizing that I am the community guy, as Square would say. Square always says, "Well, you the community guy," and then the people who I'm around in the communities that I'm in. A lot of people dub me as such. So I'm going to do my best to speak on community and how I like to see it, and some pointers that would be good for other people, to kind of take away and however this transpires into your field of work. This is a general type of conversation. I definitely will be hitting on. The story part will be about the C4, but I'll get more into that. So the title is Community at Its Best. All right, so a little bit about me. Musician. I'm an MC, DJ, producer. I can say producer because I've produced a lot of things. But specifically when it comes to musician, I've done like like producing beats and stuff like that. I mean, I've got paid for them, so I mean, I might as well just put in that producer. Audio engineer. That's one of the main things I do when it comes to the podcasting space. Audio engineering, media professional, journalist, podcaster, strategist, expert, etc. I'm the founder of Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood. That's my brand. In 2019, I started thinking about switching it to more of a media base, like a media brand. So the MPN part is just Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood short. So it's Mr. Peters. So it's MPN Network. So that's my media part where I do podcasting, music related things, all the things. So I've always done like this. I've always ran my own media, like promoting all that stuff. So I just wanted to um, make it more of a legit thing. So I made Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood start off with parties, but then I was like, I want to add the media aspect to it so we can inform my community what's going on, give them platforms, do write ups on them, do interviews and stuff like that. Stuff that wasn't happening here in Jacksonville. I wanted to be that source. So the MPN network is that, and it's blooming much more. Uh, got my bachelor's communications and media from Florida State College of Jacksonville in 2020. I recently got my master's in communication management from the University of North Florida. So yeah, I'm not trying to do school anymore because I want to relax. So that's a little bit about me. Also, I want to add in there. I am the associate editor of the Sphinx for my local chapter, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So I'm the associate editor of the Sphinx. That's basically media work. I make sure all the media content, all that stuff is straight. I strategize that so we can get it to more people, to our communities. And I am the president now of Northeast Florida chapter of NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. So before that, I was VP of Digital. So um, I do a lot of work out for sure. All right, story time. Um, so in 2022, I released a podcast that I had been wanting to do for a minute. It was Tables Might Wobble podcast, and it's a podcast about DJing. So I wanted to give my side of the story or the other sides of DJ story. I wanted people to know what DJs really go through. Um, so I was like, this would be a good, not confrontational way to talk about DJing, and I'm a real big fan of like the NPR narrative story or whatever. So I was like, this would be pretty cool to do. And I wanted to separate myself too, because at that time, this is before, well, when I thought about doing all this is before the pandemic happened. So it was like 18, 19 or whatever, but everybody was podcasting at that time and everybody was just doing like the same type of podcasting. And I was just like, I want to separate myself a little bit, still do the typical podcasting, but it was just I wanted to separate myself and I just wanted to elevate myself more, and just really define my character, define my brand, define the work that I do, challenge myself, all those things. So I wanted to get into the NPR format or whatnot. But when I got into it and I used to talk to people about it, I felt like I was like alone. Like I felt like I was just talking to the wind and nobody really was trying to, not gonna say nobody trying to hear it. I just think people just didn't understand it. But it after a while, it just made me feel like, okay, well, I don't have my tribe here. I don't know who to talk to about this. So the process of tables might wobble. And I'm talking about from like just being excited all the way to getting pointers or getting suggestions and all that stuff. And I was like, and at that time, I was like, I really want to have a crew of people that I can go and kind of like share the same type of um interests and stuff with. And even with me being a hip hop artist, a DJ, in my community, I still felt kind of isolated a little bit because the thoughts that I wanted to do, a lot of people were just like, eh. So like prime example of that would be like, I'm like, well, let's just throw our own parties instead of working with what is it called, a promoter. So a lot of people just didn't think about the elevation or the elevation of themselves. So I was always stuck in these periods where I was just like feeling like I was by myself. So to fast forward, I released Tables Might Wobble. um, stumbled over Clubhouse. Like Clubhouse was still a thing. It really became popular when the pandemic had just started. And for some reason, I just jumped on Clubhouse and I saw the room where it said content creators C4 challenge, something of that nature, whatever. But I went in there and I swear within like 30 minutes or whatever, I ended up being part of like this podcast challenge. They was promoting it. It was about to start. And I'm like, okay, this is challenging. This is cool. But I needed that challenge so I can kind of tighten myself up with it. So stumbled over this now. I wasn't necessarily looking for it, but I stumbled over it. And the more and more that I was in this room, the more I was like, yeah, this is the people who I like to talk to. And it was various people. Like you had Crait as a DJ, you had Dom as like this narrative storytelling powerhouse. Um, you had Sean Connors and all that stuff. And I explained a little bit of that going forward. But we met up, all these times. I want to say we started off. I don't know if we started off two days out of the week, but nevertheless, we're up to three. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we jump on a call 9:30. Sometimes we be on the phone call like hours, like 5+ hours or whatever, and we just started talking and talking and talking about all our dreams and goals and questions, all that, and getting feedback, all these things, which I'll get more into later. But anyway, outside of the challenge, we all, all spoke on each other's projects, goals, like I just stated, and it just became like very, very, very instrumental for me with a lot of the things that I'm currently doing right now. And still, when this is going on, I'm still not thinking like this is like community. Well, I didn't necessarily say it was community, but after a while, I was like, "Yo, this is my tribe." So going on, and even in the midst of that, we created the Ummah Creative Group, and it's like the group of people that were in the C4 challenge. We have other groups as well, or the people that work with each other. So it's crazy how like a community can break into like these sub communities, and then we just all come back to one. So yeah, so the content creators to the Ummah and back to content creators, because we all work with each other, and this thing has been going on since, I don't know why I want to say 2021, but we'll just say 2022. It's 2025 now, so 2.5, 3 years of this continuous conversation, building, being there for each other personally, professionally, all that stuff has been great. So um, that's what's going to bring me to the topic for today. The 3 points, well, 4 points that we'll focus on: how to find community, how to be involved in the community, giving back versus taking from community, and then we'll talk about some other beneficial ideas that goes along with that. All right, so the first part is how to find community. All right, people might not know how to find community, so we'll stay right here for the moment. First point I have is identify your interests and values, so you would align those with communities that share your passions. Engage online and offline. Collaborate with like-minded creators, and the fourth point is be a student of the culture. So let's go back to the identify your interests and values. Um, so you just want to think about what your community looks like. Like, think about it when you're thinking about your brand. One of the things that should be important to you when you're thinking about your brand is who's your target audience. That's one thing that I feel like a lot of people jump over, and directly, indirectly, we jump over that, but then we come back to it. But then I think this maybe that's something that might need to be in our brains like all the time. Any type of thought that we have with our brand should, the first group of people or persons we should think about is our target audience. And so the reflection of that would be, what does that look like? And it's pretty cool that you could be on this creative part. You can kind of create it in your brain and then just kind of just look for it, find it, or whatever the case may be. So, so in regards to podcasting, it's like, do you want to be in an audio community? Do you want to be just in a community where they talk about audio? Do you want to be around people that love talking about a certain topic like sports? Do you want to be in a room where there's like a mixture of people that's all in the podcasting space? Like, you have to identify those, and then get a little bit deeper about the values or whatever. That's very important too, because you don't want to get into a community that's uh, toxic or that might not benefit you. You know what I'm saying? And then these things take patience and time. Engaging online and offline. So it says join social media groups, attend local events, participate in forums. Um, one note that I wrote down was, see how consistent they are. See how consistent this group is. So that's that's part of being a student, which I want to hint on that, be a student of the culture part a lot. So the oh man, the see how they are. Like, I like the leader, or I'll just say the leader for like a better word, better phrase, but like, see how consistent they are. See how involved these people are. Like, kind of identify who these people are, and see if that's something that you would benefit. See if they have like forums, webinars. If they have stuff local, go to it and see what the deal is with that. Definitely leverage the online action as well. The next one is collaborate with like-minded creators. Partnerships can lead to deeper connections. It's always somebody in there that might be feeling the same way as you that might not know how to approach somebody, or y'all both might know how to approach somebody. It's just a matter of being in the same room or in the same chat or whatnot. But see what that person is talking about and see if if they would be if they're being beneficial to the community that one that they're in, and two if something that you would be involved in. And then the last part of this is be a student of the culture. Oh man, observe and learn before fully engaging. So um you can't just go into these rooms and be thinking, you calling the shots, you know everything, this, that, and the third. It's always good to go in with the idea that I can learn something, and maybe I can, and maybe I can add value to the community as well. But you have to study. You have to study and study, research. Um, be open minded, but at the same time, to be very vigilant about who you're dealing with, who you're seeing, all the other stuff. But that's very important when it comes to community, like being a student of the culture. This culture could have been in existence for 10 years, and you coming in, and you can't come in and just be like, hey, I got this specialty, da da da. Like, it's important for you to study and research and just see how the culture moves, and if they got their rules and their values, all that stuff. You want to make sure that these people, you want to make sure that you're respectful for it, as well as like you want to earn the trust of the community so they can, bring you in and be like, hey, what's happening? All right. Let's get to the next one. Quotes. Quotes are always good for presentations. Bell hooks. To build community requires vigilant awareness of the work we must continually do to undermine all the socializations that lead us to behave in ways that perpetrate domination. I think that's very, very powerful. And also, I want to shout out to all the women. It's Women's History Month, so the second quote will be from a lady as well. One of the big things about community is like advocacy. So when it comes to gender, race, all that stuff, that plays into the values and all that stuff. Like, it goes back to how to find that community. So that's a big thing when it comes to community. All right, second point, how to be involved in the community. So the points that I have is show up consistently, engage in conversations, support others' works, volunteer and participate. So show up consistently. The C4 group, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You know, we are we are we are diligently in that room. Um, we are diligently in that room. Shouts out to Square. 9:30 on the dot every time he's opening up that room. And the room is open and we all creep in, whether it's 10 minutes later, 30 minutes later, whatever. But we make effort to at least peek our head in. And sometimes the call lasts for an hour, but majority of the time we on the call from like from 10 to 12. That's when the conversations is happening. But it's been plenty of times where we've been on the call till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're talking about any and everything. It's the topics range, but at the end of the day, the information that we get is so rich to where you stay there and you like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to jumping on this call on Wednesday. Like, I know for me, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Like, I try to make sure I handle everything most of my stuff in the morning, so I can make sure that I have full attention and I'm giving my community the attention that it needs when I jump in these rooms. Whether they want to have an ear to talk about something or whatever, but consistently I make sure I'm in place, and consistently the C4 room is always available on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So the consistency part is A1 on that. Engage in conversations, comment, share, contribute meaningful insights. Like, the insights that we have in the room is crazy. The range is crazy, and everybody that's in the room consistently always brings like a great outlook on whatever topic that we're talking about. So when you're going into a community, whatever, you want to be observing and being that student. But if you have a point that could possibly help, feel free to give that information, Don't hold it in. Just share it with your folks. And I know uh the people that's in the C4, we always, if we have a point or idea, we're gonna give it to you and make sure that you understand it and actually be, and be respectful of the situation. Support others' works. Yeah, man. This is going. We coming into that part that's going to be kind of the. Well, I shout out to Craig when we talk about this, but support others' work. Like it goes, it goes, it goes both ways. Like make sure that you there showing up for people. Promote, celebrate, and advocate for community members. It's very, very important that in communities, people when you get into these communities, people feel after a while they get a sense of they get a sense of belonging, a sense of like just being one with people. And so on top of that, you just want to make sure when somebody is thinking of a project and it takes them 6 months to do it, at the end of it, the least that you could do is just celebrate that person, or tell somebody, hey, man, great job, man. Keep going. Whatever, whatever you need for me to do, let me know. Blah 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 blah. Like whatever the case may be. Um, so supporting others' work is definitely a great thing. Being involved in community, and like the community service aspect of it too is definitely a plus. Which goes next to the volunteering and participating. Offer skills, times, or resources to support. Um, Yeah, we all got a special skill in the community and the CFO. All of us have like this special like we have all of us have that one skill that we can use and be like, yes, we gonna, this person could do this, that person could do that. Put these two together, they're gonna make it good for all of us. So uh, you know, we had no problem volunteering our talents and making sure that our community and the people in the community uh are receiving the information or receiving the tools that they need, the information that they need, etc. So that whole volunteering part is very important too. It makes you feel good when you help somebody. Like simply, it just makes you feel good when you help somebody. When you give somebody a tool and then you see them bloom, it helps. It helps. So volunteering and participating is should have been number one, but it's all good. All of these points are important. All right. Oh man. Oh, you know what? Let me give a quick story before we get into this part. Um, Square not volunteered. We joke off and say voluntold, but it wasn't a voluntold. It was definitely a volunteer. It wasn't even a volunteer. It was like absolutely we're gonna do it. But me and Dominic Lawson, we we're like the two special guests for Dripping the Black podcast. So if I know y'all are watching the show. Y'all better be watching Dripping the Black podcast. So one show you'll see Dom, the other show you might see me, that type of thing. So we stepped in, um, and he asked us to, to help with the interviews, and both of us was like, yeah, we're gonna do it, no problem at all. So that's a form of volunteering and participating, showing up for our community, brother, and we want to make sure that we deliver the best that we can for his product and essentially keeping the show going. And so that's one example that I wrote down for the volunteering and participating part, which I think is very, very important. All right. Giving back versus taking from the community. Yeah, man. These are the type of conversations that we have in the C4. But I want people to watch that are watching this to really understand the dynamics of this. All right. And I'm just gonna be straight up with y'all, straight up frank, whatever. All right. Giving back isn't hard at all. Giving back isn't hard at all. I think a lot of people feel like, well, I don't have the money to give them, or I don't have the time to give them, or I some people, and I can give a little bit of grace on this part. It's gonna be a little bit the grace versus growth. We'll have to have a conversation about that. That's a community staple that we talk about in the C4. Shouts out to Crate for developing that mantra that I live off of for the past couple of months. Um, Giving a compliment or just acknowledging somebody verbally, uh, or social media, like whatever the case may be. These are small forms of giving back. Now, the community is in place for us to be able to receive things, and some gifts are great, and some gifts are small, some gifts are great. But as far as with the ecosystem within the community, we need to have it to where it's a give and take, give and take, give and take, give and take. But it's a healthy balance of the giving and taking. It's a lot of people in these communities that would just take instead of giving, giving, giving. And for the person that is always giving to the community, most likely the person is an expert within the community. They're giving, giving, giving. They're going to get resources to bring back to the community. They're thinking on their own when they should be with their family and friends, and they're thinking about the next thing that they could bring to the community. And then the community just takes. A simple thank you to the person that you're taking from helps. A simple, do you need assistance with this? It helps. So it doesn't. So I mean, money helps too. Opportunity, like giving time back, it helps as well. But I just want y'all to understand that the whole giving back versus taking from community is like, I don't want to put no restraints on it, man. But I just feel like a healthy community knows how to give and take. And when I say give and take, I'm talking about like really giving, like genuinely, and receiving. I don't want to say taking. Let's just say receiving. That's a little bit more a more graceful word. So I had to get my point out on that. But then the points that I have on here: be a contributor, excuse me, not just a consumer. Share knowledge, resources, and connections. So if you got some connections and if you got some resources, don't be holding up things in and just taking. Like just like if you found something that you read in a magazine and you think it's going to benefit the guy that does that's in the community that's been talking about, and we talk about podcasts, we just use this hypothetically, as well as it happens in my group. But like if you run across an article and you know that this guy in the community talks about audio all the time and they having a seminar on air media, the most that you could do is just give the information instead of holding it back. And then you in the group and you don't even know nothing about audio, and then you like, okay, well, I'm gonna get this person to do the audio for free. Blah, blah. All it can go into all of that. And I know I might exaggerate it, but that's really how it be. And it just is it just stops one of the community people from not advancing like how they should advance, because people are holding knowledge and resources in, or being helpful to that person. um the reciprocation, balancing it. Ask yourself if you're giving as much as you're receiving. Ask yourself if you're giving as much as you're receiving. Ask yourself if you're giving as much as you're receiving. Yes. Invest in others' growth. Like I stated, like if you come across an article and that article might be beneficial to that person, you know what I'm saying? Like send it to them. Just, hey man, I thought about you. Boom, check this out. Go from there. Um, Mentorships, feedback, and encouragement strengthens the ecosystem. And the last thing, acknowledge and appreciate. Give credit where it's due and recognize contributions. So yes, a simple thank you, a simple compliment, a simple share on social media. All that stuff matters. All that stuff matters. The small, from the small things to the great things. I mean, I just released the album. Uh, I just released the album, but December 31st, 2024, and don't I'm not gonna call anybody out, but I've had people in the community, in the C4 community, pay for my album as if they bought they bought it 5 times over. And then another person put together, they did an interview with me, and it was very, very beneficial, and I'm very appreciative for that. And those folks know that. And whenever they get to a point where they have something going on, I'm gonna be right there for them. And that's like healthy giving and take it. All right, let's move forward. This is the audio. This is an example of like feedback. This is an example of feedback. Yeah, this is an example of feedback. So this is a clip. We talked about tables might wobble. And Dom gave I keep saying Dom, but it's Dominic. So he gave a point, but it was very, very great. I'm gonna play it and then we'll come back and talk about it.
A point in the show where you were talking about uh, DJs doing mixes on Instagram or something like that, and there was an issue with copyright, and it was taking some stuff down, but maybe somebody else could do the same thing, and it wasn't taking it down or whatever. And and you was kind of explaining that whole deal. So I think you did a great job with background in some instances. There were some times where it was kind of DJ heavy, and I couldn't catch on to it or whatever. Uh, but I'm grateful that Crate asked that question, because I would think that, like, if I was doing tables, might wobble 2, season 2, that it would be geared towards people like Crate, like S Square, like SC, like people who are like super into music and what have you. But at the same time, the way you presented it in season 1, I think for somebody who was not from that world, from a creative space, from a workspace or whatever, I could easily follow it, if any of that makes sense.
So that was a clip of Dominic. At that point we was talking about tables might wobble. I want to say it might have been a situation where they was talking about when the next season's coming, but that feedback alone, let alone the other feedback that I've gotten, has been so rich. And I don't think I would have got that anywhere else. But being in a very robust community, to be able to get feedback like that, like get the praise, but at the same time to get some things that I could change. Like, and this was, I want to say this was recorded October of last year. So, and we often talk about tables might wobble, right? So 2 years that I've been in this community, and I've been getting these potent type of conversations, potent type of inspiration, feedback, acknowledgments, congratulations and all that stuff. Because like even tables might wobble, like it won was the best music podcast with the BPA. And so before I even won that award, my community was treating it as if it was an award winning. Like they treated like it was on NPR or BET or whatever. And so I am very appreciative of like this information. And I feel like not even feel like, I know a very important and like powerful community will help you with this. Like being honest with y'all, man, that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't like fully dived into tables might wobble too, because I'm still just processing this stuff. Now, at some point I gotta wake up and smell the records and make the show. But just like for me to get this information just helped me a lot. And it sit with me with this in particular, as well as other endeavors that I do. So I just want to give an example of like healthy community and how that looks. And you want to be able to involve yourself in people that are willing to give you that good feedback. And you have to be open as well as a community person to receive it. And it's all out of love and respect and comrade moves, all that stuff. So just wanted to play that video for an example. And shouts out to the Clubhouse action. We still keeping Clubhouse live out the streets. You know how people be like, who keeping apple juice in business? Listen, we are keeping Clubhouse in business for sure. All right, so some other beneficial ideas. I just want to get some other thoughts that you can take into consideration when looking, for community and how that looks, how to be involved, all that stuff. I create safe and inclusive spaces. Embrace collaborations over competition. That's that's a situation that I be corner eyeing a lot when it comes to our communities, specifically the Black communities. Celebrate community wins, share the journey, not just the success, and build for longevity. I'm going to start with the longevity part. Sustainable communities thrive on trust, respect, and shared purpose. So I remember specifically when we was going through the challenge, we were supposed to do a second challenge. Matter of fact, we did do it. We did two podcast challenges in the C4, and the second go around, I was like, I started thinking long term. I'm like, well, how's this gonna look? Are we going to expand this to the bigger platforms? Because by that time, Black Podcast Association had been, the wheels had been moving really good on that part. So we have a whole other community that I mean, I can respectfully say now that the C4 is, well, the C4 is part of the Black Podcast Association community, but people know that the C4, what I'm saying, content creators, we are a very significant hub within that. So I'm like, do we expand it to that? Uh, who are going to be the people that run it? Um, like giving people roles and stuff like that. So like thinking about the longevity part of the community is important, because what if something happens? What if somebody can't take on the reins of uh work, like uploading the files so it could be on the website? Um, who's going to be the expert to be like, hey, well, do we have this system is changing? Who's going to make sure that the system is in place for us to keep going when these systems change or whatnot? I mean, think about 5 years, right? 2020 to 2025, a lot has changed. A lot of platforms have been developed. A lot of social medias have been around. It's to the point where newsletters are like, it's like 15 million types of newsletters. So who's going to be the person to make sure that those are straight? Like those conversations need to be had in our community. And if you want to be the person that starts that off, by all means, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know communities that have constitutions and bylaws. I'm part of a fraternity. I'm part of NABJ. Um, Shameless plug on that. Like I'm on the task force for the entrepreneurship. Now that's the national part. So locally, I'm the president, but like nationally, I'm part of the task force, right? Before we could set up any social media, we had to go through I had to go through extensive work. Like it has to be this type of format. They had to create all the stuff, like create the logos, all that. And we had to go through a different format. Like we couldn't follow anybody until they approved it. That type of community work is important because you want to make sure that the organization's values and goals and missions are in place. So if it gets to that degree to where community needs to happen, yes. So that's building for longevity. And respectfully, I would say like the C4, the Ummah Creative Group, like, I'm thinking longevity with these type of things. So if I need to get on my administrative part on that, well, we're kind of already in those positions, but you know, think about that when you're looking for your communities and stuff like that. Do they have that? And that's a value within itself. If they have those values that you need to follow, um, like yeah, just look at that. Creative space, well, create safe and exclusive spaces, foster an environment where everyone feels valued. Um, it's been plenty of times in that CFO room. We always ask, we always ask, is the recordings on? Is the playback on? And when I hear that, I'm like, all right. So you get closer to the phone, like, all right, let me see what we're gonna talk about, because some of those conversations we need to have, and it might not be welcoming to other people. So you want to make sure that your community is like safe. Make sure that the community that you're in is safe. If it's not, then go to the person that is leading it, and or find somebody in there that you can talk to about it. But you always want to go into a community that's safe. Excuse me, y'all. Embrace collaborations over competition. Listen, the bigger picture, the bigger picture. I'm looking at the camera. Matter of fact, switch that camera to me. The bigger picture, the bigger picture, the bigger picture does not need to see us in competition. And I think if y'all could read between the lines, y'all understand what I'm saying when I say us and I say bigger picture. All right. So if you want to know what it means, we can talk about it in the Q&A. But for right now, the bigger picture does not need to see us in competition. We need to be bringing each other up. And not to go deeper into this again, but the times that we're going through right now, we definitely need to have very protected and organized communities. We can shuck and jive, but we need very organized communities, and the communities need to be collaborative, not competition. Who's being seen this and the third. Like we see that all the time and the socials and all that. Please, yeah, we have to be mindful of that. Celebrate community wins. Uh, I'm all big by anniversaries. You know what I'm saying? So whenever the anniversary started for the community, let's celebrate. Let's do something fun. Like I think that brings morale into the aspect of it. One of the stories that I wrote down, I remember we talked about the BPA Awards, Black Podcasting Awards, and we were talking about how biased it could seem if everybody's not winning, let alone being nominated. And I was like, well, for everybody to feel important, maybe there need to be some blurbs in the newsletters, like acknowledging the people that, that now granted, this is an example. Now, granted, if the podcast isn't good, that's a whole nother story. But I feel like everybody in some capacity, from small to big, can be acknowledged in them. So just celebrating the fact that it takes a lot for somebody to release a podcast by themselves. So acknowledging that person and celebrating those wins within the community helps. So that was just one example that I had. Like, instead of everybody, everybody's not going to be acknowledged to that degree from like a award ceremony or like awards or whatever, but just acknowledging them in some form of fashion or way helps. Share the journey, not just the success. Transparency builds authentic connection. Man, it's been plenty of times we have been in that room, man, and we just, we done made some testimonies like, I don't know what's going on. Square is like very great when we have our meetings with the Ummah Creative Group. The first thing he asks us before we talk about any business is, let's do a wellness check. Let's do a wellness check. How y'all feeling? What y'all thinking? And every time that's happened, I've always felt like better. Even when everything is cool, I always felt better, and I felt seen and felt like the time was being placed for me to be, be in that place, in that space, and then we go and talk about other stuff. And then I talk about build for longevity. I talked about that earlier. I feel like we're coming towards the end. I feel like it. I feel like it. Another quote from another beautiful woman. Shouts out to Women's History Month. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. Coretta Scott King. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members. That's it. That says a lot. That's kind of straightforward to the point. Your members make everything great, and from individually and collectively, the people in it, they're the ones that keep the community going. They're the ones that's bringing the information in. These are the people um, that want to see you go to the next steps. And the community that I'm in when it comes to the C4 has been that every step, every step. And I know that that's the reason why the community that I'm in is beneficial. So when looking for a community, for whatever type of community that you're looking for, you want to like look at those traits. You know, it can be logical, but at the same time, too, compassion, empathy, those type of things matter. And I think, not even think, I know that these things they're just as important as the logical aspect of a community. Another video. Here we go. The community part is just beautiful. I always leave with great energy. Um, all the new people that I've met, I've been networking with them. Like I've built like this very great relationship with Q points. They're like
Oh yeah.
them like my
Oh yeah.
they're not even my cousins. They like my brothers. You know what I'm saying? And I just love our conversations and their ideas and stuff like that. And I just want to be able to help with that. So I just want to be a good vessel outside of me DJing to add into the
Mm.
podcasting world because I do feel like not even feel like I know I have a great thing to add in the podcasting space, and it's a lot of people who are doing some great things, and I just want to contribute to it inside C4 and outside of C4. So this is our recap. Afros Audio 2024. That's our C4 recap. This is our second one that we did. Um, this is this is this is the community, man. This is the community that I champion for individually and collectively. I love and appreciate each and every one of these people that you see on the screen. Um, the values that we all have is beautiful. Um, the support that we give each other, beautiful. Everybody individually, collectively, that did the work that they do beautifully. Each and every one of these people on the screen have like poured into my work, uh, individually, collectively. I've happily and happily wise, I've poured to these people individually, creative, collectively, and that will never stop. Um, Even with Crate, with the just the beautiful layout of this, like with the design on here, and his efforts to do the tech aspect of it, and the way that he's owned up, not even owned up to it, but the way he just took the liberty to say, we need to present ourselves in a certain type of manner, like even what we're doing right now, like all of this stuff, square with his wisdom. Uh, I mean, I could go on and on about this community right here, but I felt like that part of the clip that I played was like that was the kind of like my wrap of this conversation. This is how I move when it comes to this community and with other communities as well, like the communities that I serve. Um, Being a serving a community with my alpha brothers, making sure that information is being correct and making sure that we're presented in a great light. Me being the president of the local chapter of NABJ, man, that's like major. Like I'm talking to these people, building relationships, building community. Like every time I'm talking to them, like the all of this matters when you're looking for community. And I know that this is like the sure shots of having like the best community around. And I feel that's a mixture of having compassion as well as like the logical aspect of things. And this was done on a Sunday night. Sunday night, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So we took time to jump on. And then on Monday morning, we was right back. We'll be like, we'll see y'all in the room tomorrow. So that dedication, consistency. All right. Well, we're at the end. Thank you for watching. This is another beautiful picture that I have. If y'all see Crate right here. Yo, this picture always makes me laugh, but nevertheless, this is us at Afros Audio, collectively taking a picture. All of us are always in the rooms Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Some people are missing in this, but nevertheless, this is the like the core of the community. But we were all in the same place, and this is a beautiful picture that I look at often, and I'm appreciative for these people. So thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time. Any questions, comments, concerns, shoot it to me. I don't think I'm able to see. I think I might have saw some stuff popping up, but feel free to add, any questions, comments.
Yeah, we're gonna pass the mic and have some comments and critiques. And, no, I'm playing. Comments and questions,
Critiques. Oh Lord, no.
and then we'll also put some stuff on the screen.
Okay. I meant to burn this when I was doing my presentation, but it's all good.
Is it on? It is. Okay. Y'all got questions?
Okay. Brother Pete,
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Man, dope moves, dope moves. As
Thank you, thank
always,
you,
brother. Love the presentation for sure.
thank you.
Um, I mean, me and Paula and all of us were just really just hitting on and just amen and a lot of stuff you were saying, especially that balance of receiving versus taking is a huge piece because I know for me personally, I'm always asking myself, am I putting into the pot enough to warrant what I'm taking from it? You know what I mean? And I think that just speaks to how much personally I value this community, but also on a macro level, how important, how valuable this community is. And I think it's something that we've definitely fostered. And definitely one of the things I've noticed is uh, what I learned from the community. What I learned from the community, it informs how I navigate outside of it. For example, when I heard the first season of Tables Might Wobble and understand more of the DJ's perspective and stuff like that, it informed me on how I treat DJs who are not Crate and who are not Pete, right? Like I
Right.
think I shared with you having a family reunion or like at another gathering and the DJ was there and like people were trying to get them to do something. I was like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, you didn't pay them for that, right?
Right.
And so I don't know if I would have stepped in and did something like that had I not listened to Tables, but also more to the point of this presentation, had that community to say, hey, um, you know, understand this from this perspective and why that is. And so I think it just speaks to community from that level as well of like not just what you put in or put out within the community itself, but how it informs how you act outside of it towards people who are not in that community. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And I'm glad you stated that, man, because I mean, you know, like you said, going outside of like the way that you act and do things in the community and taking it outside the community to exist in other spaces, just spreads the love. You know what I'm saying? It makes it gives more perspectives on that tip. It's kind of like an indirect help. So I totally agree with that part for sure. And a lot of people have told me, like, hey man, like I I know how to not bother DJs when I'm when I'm at a party, you know what I'm saying? Off what I've displayed in my podcast or whatever. So yeah, you're right about that. Like it definitely helps, especially when you have a good robust community. Like you could be any and everywhere and think about it, the conversation you had with your community and be like, you know what? So and so said to do this. And now you done implemented something which that brings more value to the other people that you're around, which can spread and spread and spread. And now you got We Are the World playing in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Al, you did a great job. I want to know that you kind of said that we kind of been about that business of community and things like that because I was just jotting down stuff, just like major collaborations, for the C4, Jen and Sabaza have kind of combined for the last months and have been doing their podcast. And, I got Crate and Mr. Al Pete, the neighborhood cleanup and all the other stuff that you have done. Um, Al and Dom guest host on the Dripping in Black when my host went MIA, and we still got it done. So I definitely appreciate you for that. But like I said, it's been a group that got examples of how to collaborate, both big and small. So
Yeah.
keep it up, and folks, they get paid quite well. Um,
And biscuits.
they, they get paid quite well.
Nah, that collaborate and I I was just kind of talking or whatnot, but I'm glad that you mentioned that. Well, I did because I talked about us being a special guest, the collaborations part. But yeah, um, the collaboration part is definitely big, and I'm glad that you mentioned it square, and I'm glad I mentioned it in the presentation. But um, I'll speak on this one thing, but like the neighborhood cleanup, like the way that Craig presented the neighborhood cleanup to me was like crazy. And listen, Dom has presented me some stuff too, and I'm just like, I'm like, we brothers, but y'all present this to me like I'm Jay-Z or something. You know what I'm saying? So just the professionalism on that, and just their professional and their personal contributions to the NPN network has been beautiful, man. And I remember this was last week. The neighborhood cleanup, man. Like Crate, Crate is a first of all, Crate is a great, and this is a lack of better word or whatever, but like he's a great DJ, but he's way beyond a DJ, obviously. But like, so I already knew that he was going to produce something like extremely great. No worries on that. But I listened to all the neighborhood cleaners, but the one specifically last month, I mean, the one that happened last week, just as his intentionality just hit me in a different way. And you know what I'm saying? Like that comes from being in the community, you know what I'm saying, and having those conversations. And like, so for him to contribute to NPN network as well as contribute to myself, I'm beyond thankful for being in the community like that. And everybody individually collectively in this group has done that in an enormous way. So collaborations is definitely big. Like definitely big. Whether small or big, it don't matter. That's very important in the community.
And Dom said he is working his way up to a chain. So
I told y'all why I gotta get how I gotta get that chain. I told y'all when I come on the camera and I'm like this, you understand. You'll get your chain.
the photographer here, and Paul already said she taking her pictures for OnlyFans.
Oh, shaboy, boy, boy.
Hey, Mr. P.
Paula, what's up?
Thank you for a great presentation, for reminding us the power of community. And some of the things you are sharing are things me and Dominic have spoken about, and that's the reason we have escaped certain communities, because of the give and take and the importance. Again, I think the word saying take, maybe receiving, right?
Yeah.
And also, but but also when you spoke on the wellness part, I really felt for it as um I am not as consistent in the C4 room, but I try because I forget about Clubhouse. I'm those people. But anytime I come in, or even when I haven't been around, your secretary have hit me up and checked on me, or whether you have heard I'm not feeling well or something's going on, or just randomly to just check it. So I think that is something that even when I forget about Clubhouse on that Wednesday, I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna be on. It makes me wanna come back because the wellness check, and like it's just not about the business, the podcasting, it's also the personal way, and also making people feel safe. So thank you. I just wanted to say thank you all for that and making that room and welcoming me, and this presentation being again a wake up call for us to be like, yeah, I know my shit and my worth, and I can't give anymore. I need to take respectfully.
Yeah. Nah, no. I mean, listen, you are. I mean, when you're not in the room, we're speaking on you. Like you're definitely a part of our community on that part, and you know we don't expect for everybody to be there every day. It's been plenty of times where somebody hasn't been there, this, and the third. But like the fact that we're thinking about that person when they're not in the room is that's a power within itself. You know what I'm saying? So um I know for me, just being let me be transparent with y'all, man. Like I've been questioning like my friendships, like my male friendships, um, like crazy within the past couple months. And like I'm human, you know, we're all human, but I'm like, why am I hate that I'm worried about people that are like 5-10 minutes away from me when I can really be truly embracing the people that I'm not close, that I'm not, when I say close to, meaning like this situation right here, like I truly wish that I could be out there with y'all. You know what I'm saying? But y'all are holding me down to the point where I don't have to worry about those other relationships that's not benefiting me right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a beautiful part about community that you don't necessarily have to be like in the room with the person. It could be, you know, I can be, I'm clearly not there, but I just want to make sure that my presence is like just as powerful as if I'm there. But the way that y'all hold me up on a regular day just makes things like 10 times better for the community. It makes it 20 times better for me. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure I give 30% back to y'all while I'm doing this. Hence why I try to be very mindful of this presentation and how I spoke it to y'all, and you know, whoever else is like watching this, and they're gonna leave and take something from it. So yeah, Paula, you we definitely hold you up high because you're definitely a part of that community, and and the community that we have, we pride on like holding people high and really being a advocate for these folks. So whether you're in the room or not, Paula, our arms are around you.
And I
Our
feel
arms are around you.
and I feel that and I believe that because yesterday when Ty was here and we went outside to just talk, and he literally like,
All right, there we go.
am I back? I don't
Yep,
know
yep.
where I cut off, but yeah, and he really checked on me, and we had a nice conversation. But it was also a validation that it's true when you're not in the room, people do care and check in, and so it was a good feeling. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Anybody else got any questions, comments? I don't want to take all the time up. I feel like I done took a lot of time.
Well, go ahead and close out, um, Dr. Al.
Gosh, don't do that doctor stuff with me.
Oh, we're gonna do that though. We're gonna do that.
But yeah, to my people, again, thank y'all for having me, Mr. Alpete, hailing from Duval County, aka Jacksonville, Florida. Um, if you want to follow me, I got the NPN management stuff on the screen. But if you want to follow me personally, it's Mr. Alpete on all of the joints. Um, yeah, I'm moving away from X. So personally, you can follow me, Mr. Alpete, MrAlpete. You can follow NPN Management and all the spots as well. The website, mpn-llc.com, and then that's our email down there, mpnmanagement@mpn-llc.com. And I appreciate y'all.